Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, with particular reference, Dr. Morufu Olatunji Alausa, the Minister of Education, Nigeria. I bring you words of greeting from His Excellency, Senator Doyedre, the Governor of Bayelsa State. Because of the slight change in time, he is unavoidably present. He is engaged in another meeting. However, I'm not here alone. I'm here with my team, and I want to introduce members of my team. They already seated there. So with me, I have, please come. Please come. I have with me Chief Victor Okobonanabo. He is the Executive Secretary of our State Basic Education Board. I equally have with me Professor Francis Sekoke. Sekoke is the chairman of Education Development Trust Fund of Bayelsa State. I equally have with me Dr. Alatmiboyori Ate. Dr. Ate is Director, Science, Technology, and Higher Education. And equally, I have with me Jones Womet Idikio that provides technical assistance to the ministry. We are from a coastal state of Nigeria, particularly Bayelsa State. Bayelsa State is an oil-rich state with a very small population of about 3.7 million people. And we've come to recognize the importance of education. And that is why in our delegation, the governor himself has to lead the delegation, but unfortunately, he is not here. At this point in time, I want to introduce Mr. Jones Womet Idikio that will do a presentation to you as regards to what we are doing as a state at the basic education level. We christened it the BayelsaPRIME, promoting reforms to improve and modernize education. Thank you, and listen to him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies, members, and colleagues. We are delighted to make a very brief presentation of the gains of transformation that we have experienced over a short period with our partners. So I'll just give you just a bit. Let me just give a bit of a context. The Commissioner had mentioned quite easily, but Bayelsa State is a very small state, part of Nigeria, and the southernmost part of Nigeria. But then 80% of the over 10,000 square kilometers of the size of Bayelsa State is riverine and far too rich, only accessible by boat. And it's broken into clearly about 4 central regions: the central region, the eastern region, southern, and western region. All of those areas, about 80% of each of that is accessible only by boat. Now, BayelsaPRIME, the Commissioner mentioned, but I'll just tear that a bit and just say, PRIME actually represents promoting reform to improve and modernize education. 2 key words there that should go home with everyone is reform to modernize education, modernize. And it actually underscores where we were and where we are today. So basically, that takes care of foundational skills for us. It provides 360-degree support and data-driven instruction, which is very key. Real-time, on-time data that aids easy, quick decision-making for educational gains. What does it cover in numbers? BayelsaPRIME covers 4 out of our 8 local governments. That is a pilot program so far, covering 222 primary schools. Over 3,000 tech devices have been provided to the teachers, covering 40,000 pupils in the 4 local government areas and over 2,000 teachers. So I'll take you further. What are the learning outcomes before BayelsaPRIME? It is very, very instructive. And key of that is that for instance, at primary P5 levels, you discover that average pupils could only read at P2 levels. It was dire. In fluency, you see, average pupils could not even read a single word. We knew it was bad, but we didn't know it was this bad. So about 3 in 5 schools experience a teacher shortage. So what BayelsaPRIME does for us is to create the opportunity to do deep dive assessment of our education system and find the ways where we have the challenges, and then we can apply the solutions to ensure that we have results. So teacher shortages, 56.7% of schools had teacher shortages. 10%, only 10% of those schools met the actual number of teachers that should be teaching in classes. And then in some other classes, you had 33.3% that were surplus. So it needed some sort of rejigging to ensure that all the schools had all of that working for us. So I'll take you on further. Now, BayelsaPRIME is a complete 360-degree system in all of these areas. The important thing was to ensure that the pupils had the best of teaching. And then what about the pedagogy? BayelsaPRIME ensured that the pedagogy was top-notch, 21st century compliant. And then the teachers also will be trained in using technology. The devices were very key, and they needed to be brought up to be upskilled to do that. BayelsaPRIME also helps us to achieve school administration easily using the head teachers, their smartphones, and all the gadgets that are available to them to ensure that the schools were administered at the click of a button. Then the curriculum, it helps us also to build a world-class curriculum and then ensure that the learning environment and the school culture was up to date. And what are the pillars of the methodology that we use at BayelsaPRIME? The first is to ensure that we leverage science, the science of learning. This is based on the national and the state curriculum. In Nigeria, you have a national government and sub-national governments, and each of the sub-national governments have the responsibility to also build their own independent curriculum, but in concert with the national curriculum. So that was very key. But all of this would be infused into digital teaching guides, which was very, very instructive. Then it also helps to provide an increasing rate of accountability and professionalism amongst the teaching class. And the teachers must be trained. So this happens on a daily basis. There's the in-person teacher training activities that goes on for each teacher based on proven approaches. And data-driven teacher coaching that happens. Scientifically tested materials are provided for all the schools that are operational under BayelsaPRIME. And then digital transparency is afforded with the use of the technology that is available for teaching. But this actually is the 360-degree system that helps us and the team that administers BayelsaPRIME in education in Bayelsa State. Now, so teacher training, we have over 2,000 head teachers who were trained in January to implement BayelsaPRIME across the schools in the state that BayelsaPRIME is currently operational in. And the head teachers were trained on school management, they were trained in instructional leadership and observation and communication, which is very key at the level of P1 to P6. And the teachers were also trained on scientifically proven technology, classroom management, technology adoption in classrooms, and key in all of this is child protection and safeguarding. So, technology was deployed actually, but to whom? Teachers were assigned teaching tablets, and then the head teachers, all of those schools, 444 in number. The teachers were 2,063. Total teacher tablets about, distributed about 2,507. Smartphones were given to 222 teachers, including power banks. But in giving the context, it needs to be understood that because most of the communities are far-flung and hard to reach, they were off-grid. So it's important to ensure that the devices that they use are compliant in a manner, but that they can last at least long enough before they can recharge. So BayelsaPRIME supplies high-quality learning materials, which is very key. The learning materials have provided the access that we need as a state to achieve the solutions that we desired. Okay. So, but again, it is important for us to measure how far we've come from where we were. What is the methodology that we used? So this is a visual representation of statistical technique used to identify the BayelsaPRIME effect. So if you look at that, you'll see, in the legend, you see the blue and you see the green. And we call them treatment schools and comparison schools. Treatment schools are BayelsaPRIME schools. Comparison schools are schools not implementing BayelsaPRIME. So if you look at, the visualization here, you will see the differentiation, which shows that, we were up there in over just a short period of time. Now, what are the learning gains we've had? We focus essentially on foundational skills, numeracy and literacy. So if you see, you'll know that from P1 all the way to P6, you see from the expected outcome and then the actual performance, you see the differentiation, that's there. Now, the average, how did we do this? To monitor progress in foundational numeracy, we use the ICANN score by grade. So look at the legend again, from expected to actual performance, you see, but this isn't just over 19 weeks of operation. So if you see, the legend actually tells us how far we have come, showing marked difference in our expectations. So why do we think that we have achieved anything? Teachers were not in classes over time. Now we have more teachers delivering lessons in classes, meaning that the children, the pupils, can actually now have learning in classes, which is very key as the gains that we expected in BayelsaPRIME. So these are a bit of the acknowledgements of parents over what they have also experienced with their children. It says, for one of them, it says the teachers have been really trying. They attend classes regularly. They are also employing new teaching methods. That gives the credibility that we require for the program and the success of it, ensuring that the children both get what we as administrators desire for them. And for the parents giving us all of these testimonials, it means that the prime effect has actually kicked in. So looking forward, what do we expect from today going forward? BayelsaPRIME operates in 4 local governments, we said. It means that we're looking forward to ensure that we expand to the next 4 local governments. So there will be uniform outcomes across the state. And then also to expand to the secondary school in August of next year. In Bayelsa State, the basic education is from P1 to P6, but nationally it is from P1 to 12. So we're ensuring that P1 to 9, I'm so sorry. So P1 to 9, so we're ensuring that going forward, the BayelsaPRIME effect can be felt across board in all the local government areas, across primary, and then to up to 9. Now, innovation in our methodology. BayelsaPRIME through NewGlobe, we have targeted instruction. The materials are targeted, curated, structured for that purpose to ensure that nothing is actually left off from the experiences we want our children to have. Now, Let's Mark app is also a very key app. Teachers don't do marking anymore, on script. It's tech-based and is very instructive. This is also being scaled up to ensure that there is handwriting recognition for each of the pupils, so it's much easier to mark. And then situation room. Like we were being told, the situation room is that digital interface, the dashboard that tells the commissioner and every administrator back end what is happening in every single school in Bayelsa State that is operational with the BayelsaPRIME program. And it's very instructive so that it takes care of teacher absenteeism, ensures that lesson notes are completed, ensures that the pupils are actually getting the right kinds of learning that they should have. Going forward, we hope that, with all of this, we're hoping that in the next couple of months down the road, the scale of outcomes, the scales of benefits that we'll be able to provide through BayelsaPRIME will be phenomenal. For us, it is significant, but it's more phenomenal because we know where we're going. Thank you so very much.